Hey there, it's Kylie Menz here. Welcome to mylifestyleshow.com. Sorry about that, minor technical hitch, but we think we're off and running now. Just want to say welcome aboard. Thanks for taking the time out to watch this show. Obviously, it's a live interactive show, so I encourage you to ask questions. There's a question box below the video, and also do message me if not. So if you haven't been on the show before, I just want to share with you that the mission for the show is purely here to inspire and motivate women entrepreneurs, particularly to create a change and fast track their success to creating a lifestyle business that they really love, full of time and financial freedom. So encourage you to ask questions. We've got a fantastic guest on here today who is going to share her journey and some of her story for us. So I want to introduce you to the fantastic Vanessa Simpkins. Now, Vanessa is an international speaker, best-selling author, and she's also known as a women's empowerment leader. I remember her as the bikini coach because that's how I got to know her. She's obviously had two best-selling books. The favorite one for me was From Bankrupt to $900 a Day Selling Mops, which I just love the title. It's a fantastic story. But she's just released Take Your Power Back, which is all about overcoming resistance to create the life that you love. She's so passionate about empowering women. That's where her vision and her motivation's gone now. So today, Vanessa is going to be sharing her journey around specifically her turning point in her life, where she stepped out of her self-doubt and into self-confidence, and how she overcome crippling fear that kept her in an abusive relationship, which I didn't know about, so I'm excited to hear about that, and a job that she was holding on to because she was terrified that she wouldn't make the money that she was making then doing something that she really loved. So we're going to be talking about overcoming fear, how you can get past that. Some of her maybe selling techniques about not being pushy and icky, like we call it, the old sales techniques, and how to break out of the cycle of working with people that can't afford it. So welcome, Vanessa. It's awesome to have you on board. And if you want to share a bit about your journey and background first, that would be just lovely.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks for having me. And hi, everyone. My journey is, it's like everyone else's. It's full of potholes and bumps and bruises. So, I was in an abusive relationship, mentally abusive relationship for 8 years. And one night, this guy picks me up, throws me across a hotel room because I wouldn't have sex with him on his birthday. And I opened my eyes 2 inches from a plate glass window, and I think to myself, holy shit, 2 more inches, and that could have been the end of me. And I escaped to a taxi cab, and I told the guy, get me out of here. And then it dawned on me, how did I, smart, intelligent, beautiful young woman, become another victim of domestic violence? And my next question was, God, why is this happening to me? So actually, the national statistic from UN Women states that 7 out of 10 women will suffer from sexual and or physical abuse in their lifetime. That's a lot. And, it dawned on me when I asked God that question, why is this happening? The answer came immediately. And the answer was so you can help women not fall into the same patterns. And then I started crying because for years I'd been begging God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call that, higher power, for an answer, a way out, a new career, a new business, because I was selling mops, doing these live product demonstrations, kind of like the ShamWow guy, but I was a ShamWow girl selling these mops in department stores. And it wasn't my passion. And, I had successfully, used the law of attraction, overcome fear of speaking, and became the top salesperson in the company, which is something I want to gift to your audience because it is an amazing book. So I'm so happy you brought that up. My first book, From Bankrupt to $900 a Day Selling Mops. This is an amazing book. This is like a goodie bag of all of my absolute most favorite tools, tips, techniques, mindset transformations. Seth Godin says there are some very big ideas here for anyone who's ever sabotaged themselves in a sales call, which I think is all of us. Jeffrey Gitomer says this book makes sense in dollars. It's real world, tells a great story, and transfers straightforward strategies that you can put into practice. The minute you read them and turn them into money, buy it and bank it. I'm going to give it to you guys for free. Go to takeyourpowerbacknow.com/free book. And you can download an ebook version of that book, and it comes with $500 worth of cool audio, video trainings, bonuses, everything that I use to take myself out of this bankruptcy, very fear-based mindset, and into upwards of making $900, $1,000 a day. I share that entire process with you. So it's a phenomenal book, and the resources are awesome. Again, their website's takeyourpowerbacknow.com, free book. So the story continues. You know, I left that abusive relationship, and the journey began. And the real journey was an inner journey, looking at my thoughts and my beliefs. You know, what had me stay in this job, you know, for 2 years longer than I really needed to. It was fear. What made me stay in this relationship, you know, for 8 years, on and off. I could never leave. Fear. It was fear that I wasn't good enough. Fear that I wasn't going to make the same kind of money in a passion-based career doing what I love. It was fear that I didn't deserve any better. Fear that, you know, this guy was the best I could get. And so I think a lot of women stay because of fear. And this is why I'm so passionate about, you know, helping women really take their power back, overcome fear, and thrive. And, you know, we'll get into some of the, you know, the real semantics and processes for doing that on the call here today. But that's basically when you can overcome fear, when you take your power back from the ego. I mean, the whole world is waking up right now. The whole world is having an awakening. And if you're watching this, you know, Google Hangout, this interview, you might be feeling the same kind of knock. You know, the universe like knock, knock, knock. It's like knock, knock, knock. It's time to change. And fear says, no, wait, you know, you're not ready yet. You need to know more yet. You know, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? And so, you know,
sounds like
right. This is the mind. You know, this old, you know, paradigm. The mind is a mechanism that protects us and uses fear. The only problem is we tend to listen to it, and that's when we get in trouble. So, you know, overcoming this fear, leaving that relationship, I launched my business, and I was invited to speak in Costa Rica and give a workshop out there. And I thought, well, you know, once I overcame my fear, I decided, well, what I really want to do is I want to move to Hawaii. So I moved to Hawaii, and I lived there for 1.5 years on one of the most gorgeous, enchanted islands in the world, Kauai, Hawaii. And now I travel around. I'm an international speaker. I have a second book now. It's a bestseller. I'm going on a national television and media tour with this book. It's called Take Your Power Back Now: How to Overcome Your Resistance to Creating a Life You Love. It's really, I made it as a confidence guide for women, because women are terrible. They're terrible at sales, right? Women suck at sales because they don't want to brag. They have a lot of low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I can be the first one to talk about it because, you know, I've been kind of through the ringer with it. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing with women, you know, how to overcome fear and how to take your power back. So now I coach women mainly in business and confidence. So I have a program, it's called my 10K and 30-day program. And it's really a challenge to help women prove to themselves that they can really manifest, you know, money, manifest miracles, and show them how to use the power of the mind and creating new decisions in life, really achieving your goals, how to plan for success. So, you know, that's really the first foundation I want to talk to you about today is planning, you know, planning. And before I do that, I'm also going to share with you a link for the listeners here. If you're interested in finding out more about my products and programs and the 10K and 30-day challenge, go to my website, takeyourpowerbacknow.com. On the About page there, you'll find out all about the programs. And there's an application form. If you're interested, it's takeyourpowerbacknow.com/10K ready. So with that being said, all of that's, all the kind of foundation is out. How do you want to start this? Do you want to just let me go and start talking, or should I answer questions?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, what I want to do, ideally, if you want to kind of maybe do, yeah, a bit about training first, then we can go into some specific questions as we go at the end, maybe, might be easier. It's really interesting, though, when you talk about female sales, because I've been in sales for 10 years, like top salesperson in both the industries that I was in, but yet doing it for myself, completely different story, as you know. And even that's really interesting dynamics, is that in fact when it was for someone else, I had no hesitation whatsoever. But then doing it for myself and my own value, and you know, people go, oh, you're sales, you must be able to do it so easily. And we still go through the same fears. It's really interesting. So even though you're good at selling sometimes, doing it yourself is...
I'm so happy you brought that up, because that was my biggest challenge. I was a top sales producer in that company, you know, selling mops and lint removers and ShamWow products and all these, you know, on live stages around
anyone
Canada
that can
and the
get
States.
to $900 a day selling mops has got to be good.
I'm going $5,000 a day, but the $900
Yeah.
So but I had to overcome my fear, and you know, I had the number one block that prevented me from selling my own services was this fear that again, I wasn't, who was I to charge thousands of dollars for my coaching consultant or for my inspiration or for my wisdom that I incidentally invested about $100,000 learning how to run a business before I ever made any money. And I made all the biggest mistakes, like some of you watching. I spent $10,000 once on a website on this marketing company that promised me, all this passive income, because I was afraid that I couldn't sell my own services, so I invested in this company. So there's huge blocks that entrepreneurs face when starting a coaching consulting business. One of them is the fear of visibility, fear of being visible, the fear of, that's like, who am I? Who am I to be, that quote, talented, gorgeous, beautiful, who are you not to be a child of God? And, but there's a fear there that, not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, not deserving enough, I don't know enough yet, who am I? And this is one of the number one fears I coach women through when they join the 10K and 30-day program. And until you master that, there's no way around it. There is no way around it, because you've made a decision in your mind, that you're not ready, that you're not deserving. So everything comes from the power of decision. That's really where your power lies, is in your ability to decide. People make it more complicated. They do. They think, when I have the money, when I have the time, when I lose the weight, I'll attract a boyfriend, or when I when I feel more confident, I'll start my business. All of that is bullshit. You will not do anything until you decide to do it. The word decide in Latin means to separate from, to cut away from. In my mind, it means to kill off all other opportunities. You decide, you make a decision. Then you must commit. I tell people, if you want to go to India, meet the Dalai Lama, become spiritual, you got to buy a plane ticket. You're not going to sprout wings and fly there. So, commit. You got to invest, commit. And that sends out a signal to the universe, bing, 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 she's ready. This person is ready. Give her everything she needs. And then you walk into the expansion, but not before. So really, this business of selling your services, of having the confidence to sell your service, is actually the business of personal responsibility. And if you're not getting out there selling your services, you have a lot of fear. And you are the one letting fear win. End of story. So, a lot of my clients have this fear of being visible, this fear of just, worthiness, deservingness, of not being able to own their value. And really, it comes down to the understanding of sales. Most of the clients that I work with are smart, they're talented women, they're go-getters, they're like you, Carly. They're highly educated women who are action takers, and then, when it comes time to selling, they crap out. And the reason is, there's three reasons why. So number one, one of my clients, Lisa, came to see me with this problem. She didn't think that, she could go out and sell spirituality in the marketplace. And so because of that decision, right, the fear completely blocked her mind. And she came to me and said, I think about it. And I don't want to. I'd rather, go out there and, make this work. And so we looked at, when I looked at her sales process, I realized she wasn't talking to the right people. Whenever she would go out there, she would have, no's, or she would have to think about it. So number one, not having the right message that engages with the ideal audience is a huge, another huge problem, right? You don't know what you're selling or who you're selling it to.
Yeah, see that a lot in internet marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They try to sell to everyone and they sell to no one. That's a common one as well.
Yeah, and here, there's a trick. I'm going to share this with you. If you're one entrepreneur and you're wanting to break into the coaching consulting field, just think about who you were like 3 years ago, and make that your ideal client. And you really do have to pick somebody, otherwise it becomes too wishy-washy. The second problem I see people making is, they don't have the right transmission, meaning, they're following other people's methods or models, and they're not really giving themselves permission of what they want. Now, this is huge, and it's so simple. I was reading my book the other day for an audio, I was making an audio of this one, and I was reading it, and I was like, my God, I should read my own book. This is pretty good stuff. I wrote this 4 years ago. Read my own stuff. It's not bad. It's actually, things haven't changed so much in 4 years. This is still, still the foundation of manifesting the mindset. And when I look at some of the results my client has, so Lisa, we helped her clear out the fear and helped her get clear on her message. Permission, give yourself permission to really want what you want. And she went to talk to the right people, and she did 37,000 pounds in her first 30-day challenge. So, you know, another one of my clients, Susanna, same thing. She came to see me, and she, you know, she had none of the marketing she was doing was working. And she said, you know, I would love to make $14,000 this month. But she said, I don't think I can do it. I think it'll take me about 3 months. I said, well, what the hell is that? See, again, it's a decision, right? These fears are thoughts that you decide. And your mind, because it's creative, and goes ahead and gives you the creation in what we call, you know, life. Basically, you can out-project it in the mind. And so I said, you know, let's do it right now. Let's do it this month. What are you waiting for? And actually, when we probed deeper, what she really wanted to do was make $20,000 this month. And she did in her first 30-day challenge. So the 10K and 30-day challenge is really about understanding the mind, getting clear about, you know, opening the door to what is it you really, really want. And I'm going to make that invitation to everyone listening here on the call today. You know, what the heck do you really, really want? Now, most people don't even open the door. They don't even open the door because they don't think they can believe the habit. They're not ready yet. This is all this fear, right? So they don't even open the door. But right underneath that door, right underneath that desire that comes from where? Why do you have it and not the neighbor next door? Why do you want to be a coach and not a farmer? You know what I mean? Like, it's your higher source giving you inspiration. Well, you know, you can answer that. There's power behind it. There's every tool. There's every piece of knowledge. There's every guidance. There's every idea that you need right behind that door. Now, the reason why you don't answer is because of fear. So again, it all comes back to eliminating fear. A mind that is full of fear a mind is like a receiving. It's like a funnel, right? It's going to receive a download from the spirit, and then it's called intuition. All right, and then you act on that intuition, bang, and that's where all these things come from. That's where money is generated. Quite honestly, but if you can't, you know, a mind that is full of fear is like it's blocked. The funnel is blocked, so you can't. Even if you get the guidance, you don't even know if that's guidance. Should I trust it? Do I act it? I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So. Right?
Yeah, it can still open the door. Yeah, it can still be in front of you. It's like opportunities, isn't it? They say they're around you all the time, but if you're not ready to receive them, you're not going to take any notice of it or take a step forward, are you?
Or not trust it, or not act upon it, and then you're going to get overwhelmed. That's what overwhelming is. It's all these ideas and no action. Yeah. And what happens when women are in this visibility systems building stages of their business? They come to me. They've done all the programs. You know, they spend thousands of dollars and all these, like, you know, group programs where you get to hide out. And I've been there. You know, I spent all kinds of money flying around the world with this guru, that guru, and, you know, not really taking any action because I wasn't clear. I didn't have a plan. So I want to talk to you guys about planning today. It's so freaking important. Planning. This is how to actually.
I'm scared.
Go ahead.
So how do you get past the one where I hear a lot of sort of people getting started, especially online and things like that, where they feel they have to, I guess, play small. So like they may be taking steps, but they might, like you said, only start with, say, something at $90 instead of something that they should be charging $1,000 for. How do you overcome that sort of mindset then?
Well, that's really understanding, you know, the value of the service that you provide. So one of the things I teach my clients is to create high package offers, big ticket offers. And in the beginning, when you're coaching, the most valuable thing that you have is your time. That's the most valuable thing that you have. It's really your time, one-on-one or in group. So, you know, and it's the best way you can share your knowledge. And everyone has knowledge. You know, if you've been a great, successful mom and you've raised 4 kids, you can be a coach. Oh, look at that. You can help other women who have, you know, issues with their kids. So, if you charge $90 an hour, you're going to have a real problem. That's why a lot of healers come to see me too, because they're in this mentality of, you know, I'm going to charge $60 for a massage or $100 for a massage. And you have to understand, you know, one thing. People will pay for a solution to a problem. You know, if you're not having sex because you're up all night because your kids are screaming and crying, and your husband's now is upset, and, you know, you're on the brink of a divorce, and some lady comes around and says, I can help your baby sleep. Would that be worth $5,000 to save your marriage? I mean, you got to understand here what people are really paying for. And this is why I teach sales in my program. Most women are horrible at sales because they don't want to brag about how good they are and how confident they are in their service, in their knowledge, in their wisdom. This is what sales is about. Sales is about confidence. You can't have confidence while you have fear. So, people buy your confidence. They buy your assuredness that you can help them. But even a step before that, you've got to get clear on what the heck you're doing. What's your service? What's your service package offering? What is your big ticket offer? What is that? And who are you selling it to? And understanding that, how to talk about in language your service as a solution to somebody's problem. That's all it is. And you got to be really confident about that. I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs now on this exact, I work with entrepreneurs. Mostly I work with women's empowerment leaders. That's who I work with. They come and see me. One of my clients, Sharon, came to see me. She had this vision. Again, knock, knock, knock. Universe is like, hey, I want to do a one-day women's empowerment event called the Juicy Women's Journey Symposium. And I taught her how to make an offer. And she went out and did all these. Did she work? Yeah, it's called work. So it's called. It's not going to land in your lap for nothing. You don't get something for nothing here in this world, okay? It's work. But is it your own work? Is it your divine, connection? Is it your passion, your purpose? Yeah. It's a lot different than selling mops, I'll tell you that much. I get to live in Hawaii now. I'm here in California. So, when you answer that calling, when you answer your higher power, amazing things happen. And yeah, it's work, okay? So I taught her how to, make an offer. And she went out to various networking events. She filled the room with 140 people, did a one-day women's empowerment event. It was a huge success. She generated, I think, over $10,000 in sales. She was invited to speak and do this entire one-day event all over Canada and the States. It's a whole new business opportunity for her. And her main goal was that, Vanessa, she said, I want to teach in Costa Rica like you did one winter. And so the next winter, who do I see on Facebook in Costa Rica? Sharon, going out there and living her dream and being free and coaching from out there and putting more of her work online. So, understanding sales is a big part of this game. Business is about sales. And most entrepreneurs flounder. It really makes me so angry and so upset when I see smart people that are trying to make it in business. They take all these fancy courses. I'm not going to name any names, all right? But they do all these fancy courses, they get all these nice websites, and they're broke, not making any money. And then they come and see me because they haven't been taught how to own their value. They haven't been taught really how to authentically, transmit their value in the word. So remember, we talked about the first bigger problem was not having your clear message or not knowing who to talk to. And the second thing is not having the right transmission. So maybe you're following somebody else's plan on how you should, maybe I should be doing webinars, but no, you're a speaker. You need to be in front of people. You have charisma. That's a right transmission for you. So, aligning yourself with the proper transmission. Fail or they sabotage it.
I just lost you a bit there on volume. I don't know whether it's my connection or.
Yeah, I don't know. But do you want me to repeat
Yeah, that's better. You got you better.
Yes, I was saying, the second problem is not being aligned with the proper transmission for your business, right? It's kind of a sabotage. Maybe you're hiding out. Maybe you really should be a speaker, but you're hiding out on the computer. So it's harder for you. Or maybe you should be on the computer because you're a mom. You want to stay home, but you're out there running around and it's depleting you. So, really being clear and honest with what you want, getting the right message, speaking to the right people with that message, engaging the right people, having the right transmission is really, really important.
And is that what you talk about? Sorry, you talk about that in your book, don't you? Because you talk about your kind of sales in a spiritual sort of practice I wrote down. Not obviously a pushy sales or anything like that, but as being in alignment with what you really believe and know and your message. Is that what you mean by being in spiritual side of sales?
Well, there's a process here in the book on page 17, sales is a spiritual practice, okay? And it talks about attracting your ideal clients. So basically, the process of spirituality, being connected with your higher source, is understanding, what you really are and coming into the experience that you really are a creator. What you decide you create, what you choose you create. You can choose fear. You can choose it all day long. Trust me, you're going to get it all day long. You're going to get it all day long until it hurts so bloody bad you are ready to look inside and really take responsibility. So what I did on the mop stage was I got really clear that I wanted to work with a certain kind of client. And I just got clear. I decided this is what they were like. And I want to attract ones that are like this. And I give a process for how it works here. A lot of entrepreneurs use it. And so, you know, the spiritual practice, sales as a spiritual practice became, you know, how can I use sales as a way of measuring how connected I am and how, you know, how much I come back and be centered and present and, you know, clear about my intentions? Or am I just drifting around in the world, letting everyone in all the theaters and the media and the newspapers and the this and the that bombard me, right? So that's not being conscious. That's not being deliberate or intentional. That's being drifting around. That's why you need a plan. So you can get the book again at takeyourpowerbacknow.com/free book. It's a free download. Page 17 has that process. And I mean, I used to go down the stage. I remember one day I was so angry. I don't know what happened. I came back. I was in New Zealand for the winter. My sister works out there. She's an adventure tour guide. Went out there for 6 weeks. Came back in March in Canada. It was freezing. I was like, what did I do? You know, it was too cold. And I remember driving to the mop stage, and I was angry. I was just angry. I just didn't want to be there. It was too freaking cold. And I was angry, and I had to do these announcements, you know, call all these clients over. It's kind of like the marketing part of your business, right? How are you attracting leads? So you get on the phone, ladies and gentlemen, we have these free gifts in 2 minutes, and everyone comes running upstairs, and then you got to engage them, and you got to stay and watch your deal for 20 minutes and then buy your thing. So there's like that in your business. There are certain segments. There's the marketing, there's the attracting of the leads, there's the engagement process where they should consume your content, stay at your live event, you know, if it's an online event or speaking, and then there's the offer, there's the sale, there's the close. So, and then there's the delivery. But, you know, you don't get to the money part until you have all those things, right? That's how it works. So I was angry that day, and who shows up at my stage? Angry people. Like this one woman was so gnarly. She was so nasty. I was like, oh my God, she's the reflection of me, you know, oh my God, she's the reflection of me. So, you know, taking responsibility, I was like, okay, let's let that go. Let's let all that anger go. You know, this is what I really want. And come back to ground zero, which is like wiping the slate, which is like coming back to oneness, coming back to, you know, that connection. You know, when your mind is free of fear, then you have that presence about you, and that's what people buy. So earlier on the show, you said, you know, we talk about how do you start working with people who can afford your services. It's very simple. You need to be the kind of client that you want to attract. So if you're cheaping out somewhere in your life, or, you know, hiding out and really not investing in yourself, that's going to come across in your marketing. It's going to come across in your sales. It's going to come across in your vibration. And, you know, once I remember my first mentor that I hired was $8,000. I didn't have that money. I was like, well, I got the first month down, and this better work. You know, I'm going to do everything because next month I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but I'm doing it because I'm not going to spend another year doing these freaking mops. This is enough. You know, enough is enough. Make a decision. And boy, it's scary. You know, like running your own business is like, you know, following your intuition and your guidance. It can be very scary at first because it's not you in your mind controlling your life. It's doing it through source, and it's not, you haven't been, it's like a muscle, you know, you haven't practiced it yet. It's like, you know, maybe you've had these ideas here and there of, oh, you know, intuition, you know, but the practice of living by your intuition every day and trusting it and taking action from it is a different story. It's like, you know, you go to the gym, you can't just go to the gym once and become Hulk Hogan. You know, it's a practice. So spirituality is a practice. Connecting with that source every day is a practice. Looking inside the mind. One of the things I love to do, and I'll share this with you. I know you have a question. So if you want to attract high-paying clients, be one yourself. That's my, you know, that's always my
I was going to say, how do you get into your mind, which I think you're about to show.
Yeah. You know, my invitation is always to, you know, be the example client, because once you invest in yourself, you can then accept and receive that from other people. We're always just, you know, having these experiences of receiving ourselves, in various forms. So going into the mind, one of the best, easiest tools that I can share with you is to, anytime you're making a decision, right, because your mind is doing this all the time, you look at, okay, well, what's the worst possible, give me the worst picture that can happen here. What is the worst thing that can happen here? And you take a piece of paper and you write that out. And I mean, you'd be shocked, to see what's in your mind. I'm still shocked. I still have, I do this process. I'm not exempt from it, you just peel off deeper and deeper layers of stuff. It's so interesting to see what is going around, washing around in your mind unconsciously. So you bring it out with consciousness by writing it down. What's the worst possible thing that could happen to you? I'll take a look at that. So you're not your thoughts. That's just a story. That is really just a story that you've decided.
That's so powerful, yeah. So if you stopped and did that every time, and I'm sure it changes probably every time as well. I presume you move layers as you get through them.
I'm going to invite you to do it every day.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
What's the worst thing that can happen to you? Write it down, and that's actually what's going in your mind. That story. So here's my invitation: is you write this down. I have a book. It's got big pink and white spots on it. It's a big pink and white spot book, and I write down, what are my stories? And I look at it. I'm like, man, that's a good story. Oh, okay. Well, here's what I would like to do instead. Here's a new story. Here's my new decision. Because life is just a decision. Remember what we said? You decide, you commit, and you expand. That's my decide, commit, expand theory. 3 steps. You want to know how I moved to Hawaii? I decided I was going to do it. I committed. I bought a ticket. You're going to have fear. Oh, yeah, it's going to be there. It's there. But it's not real. And that's for you to prove to yourself. By taking your power back, deciding and committing, and then watch, the universe, everything will conspire to give you that, but not before you really commit. That's the process. But you really, power decision is huge. Most people are giving their power away. They're actually making decisions that the problems are bigger than them. That's the decision. Power is in the decision. So take your stories, write them down, and then turn it around. So, okay, that's my story. Let's say one of my stories is, oh, I'm afraid if I, start my new business, or I'm afraid if I invest in a mentor, I won't, this is my fear. I won't make as much money as I did in the mop job in this new business. I've made more money in this business than I ever did in the mop job. Okay, so what would you like? What would you like to do instead? What's the new decision? Write that down. And just see how it feels in your body. Just the change of reading the new decision and the intention is going to feel so expansive. So, if you're going to believe a story, why don't you believe one that's supporting you? Right?
Yeah, you got more sun coming in there. Stop bragging.
I know, it's so sunny in California today.
Mind you, I can match you in London today. I can't say that very rarely, so I'm happy to match you today. But yeah, that's really powerful, isn't it? It is like you said, we are just programmed with various different stories from all our childhood and our upbringing, our background, our environments and stuff like that. But that's really powerful stuff. I've been listening to a lot of Bob Proctor at the moment as well, and he talks about the same thing. It's just a story. So rewrite it. I like that method though. Very simple method that anyone can do on a daily basis. So I challenge my viewers to do it. If you guys are stuck on anything, if you're not moving forward in your business or something's holding you back, start with that every day. So start a journal. Have a new journal now, apparently. I will be starting that every morning. Let's do that and then see what comes up. It'll be fascinating to see what stories I tell myself. I had a question, a really interesting question come through from Sabrina, who wanted to watch, but she's still at work, unfortunately. She's got the vision, so I'm going to challenge her specifically. She's one of my co-partners with creating this show. and I'll challenge her because I know she wants to leave work. And there's a massive fear of her leaving work and the commitment for her family and stuff. So that's her challenge every day, to write down what's the worst thing that can happen if she left work. But she asked, it was really interesting. I'm not quite sure where she come from with this, but it was, are you ever too old? Is it ever too late to change your thinking and where you want to go, take your power back?
This is a great question. It's never too old. You're never too old, because you know, the thoughts that you had yesterday are in the past, and your power is now, and right now, and now, and now, and right now. So all you ever have is right now. Everything you've done in the past is in the past. You can't change it. It's done. Those thoughts have been thought. And the thoughts that you were thinking in the past have created your now experience. So if you don't like your now experience, you just change your thoughts. And in a very short order, not immediately, because you know there is like time, which is kind of like gravity. You know, we have these laws of the universe. We don't instantly think and then boom, this thing lands on us. However, I'm always investing in, you know, finding out how.
Yeah, can you turn the sun off for me?
I know, I'm like moving around.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
You know, there is a little bit of a lag time between, you know, your intention and the manifestation of it. You know, so you don't just think of an elephant and it's fall flat on your face immediately. But the quieter your mind is, the faster those decisions manifest in the physical plane.
So what's kind of one sort of, she asked about that. She said, well, what's one thing that you can do to kind of, I guess, work on your mindset of fear? So how do you quieten your mind? What's your key things that you do to quieten your mind then? And how often, I suppose?
Well, you know, one of the things is having a plan. Okay, one of the things is having a plan. So a mind that does not have a clear goal with a definite time for when you want to achieve this goal, what you intend to exchange for this goal, for this money, and a definite plan on how you're going to get there. If you don't have a plan, and trust me, I was so resistant in planning. I'm a gypsy, Kylie. And you guys listening to me, I was raised by an artist. We used to fly around on the East Coast and go painting everywhere. My dad was this painter, and we'd jump in the van, and my mother would spend 3 days loading it up, and then we'd blast off, and you know, we'd find these cheap hotels, and my dad would paint his paintings, and oh, let's go over here, this little water lily pond, and oh, let's go sell paintings over here, this town, and you know, wow, we just made a deal, we sold the painting, we keep on traveling, and you know, 3 weeks later we'd come home. That's how we lived. So, you know, now my father died, a brilliant, talented, genius artist, but let me tell you, he was broker than broke. No plan. Okay, so there's a price to pay for the price to pay for kind of gypsy, you know, fluff about. And what happens is my father had a lot also of demons, a lot of you know, self-loathing. You know, he was a great artist. A lot of entrepreneurs out there. You're wonderful. You're brilliant. You don't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, that opens up your mind to fear, because you're not commanding your mind. You must command it. You must tell it what to do. You've got to take your power back. Right? So you've got to take your power back from fear. It's the one. What's procrastination? Fear. Self-doubt? Fear. It's all fear, right?
Procrastination is a big one.
Oh my God, yeah. You know, and we're not taught how to really take your power back. We're not taught that in schools. You know, my father was an artist. He was a free thinker. I mean, he was really cool. You know, he did silver mind control and all these things in the 1970s. He always told me, don't follow the system, kiddo. You know, do what you love to do. It's all going to work out. You're going to be fine. He left a legacy. He left the world a legacy. He had these gorgeous paintings. Nature. And to him, nature is God. That was gorgeous to him. And, you know, he did all right. He raised 2 kids. You know, could he have been more successful? I think so, without all the fear. Definitely. So, you know, but the powers that be in society, that's, they don't teach you in school how to connect with the faculties of your higher power. They don't teach you how to do that. They want you to, use your mind. They want you to memorize things. They want you to spit out information that you memorize. That's not knowledge. That's not wisdom. That's learned stuff that you repeat and spit out. That's not power.
Totally.
Because the rest of the world needs, they need people to scrub toilets and work for 10 and 15 and 20, $30 an hour. They need that.
Yeah, of course. They need it, don't they? That's how they control us. Yeah.
So I don't want to be negative about that, but it's good to be informed and responsible. So most of my education has been around esoteric, yes, spirituality, yes, sales, success, marketing, all of that. How do you? It's not been in. I've never really bought into the 9-to-5, work for a company mentality. I've always been very freedom based. You can do whatever you want. If you have the right systems and if you know how to use your mind. So to answer, that lady's questions, it's Sylvie, her name?
Sabrina.
Sabrina, it's never too late to start thinking a new way. And I invite her to do that process and just look at some of the stories. I'm sure she's got a story in there that says, I'm too old, it'll take me too long. Those thoughts are what's preventing her from taking action.
Yeah, the take too long one comes up. And I know it does for myself. When I hit 40, I was like, oh, why am I doing this now? Should I start? Should I get into it now? And then I saw a statistic that the majority of people start their businesses from 36 to 45, and they're the most successful. So I was like, oh, I'm right in the middle. I'm right on track. So, but it is that. And you kind of do wish you'd started so long ago. Like, whatever held me back from doing this 5-10 years ago? And it was fear. It was the fear of security. It was the fear of, especially when I think, if you're by yourself, I think a lot of, especially women entrepreneurs now are coming through, they don't necessarily have a partner as a background. They don't necessarily have that extra support mechanism anymore either. So you've got that double layer of fear where it's like suddenly, you've got to survive on, whatever you're bringing in, whatever you're doing. So I guess it holds you there longer. I know I hear that a lot from my friends all the time going, couldn't possibly leave work. How would I pay my mortgage? I'm the only one that's doing it. And it's like, well, you could get made redundant tomorrow. What's the difference? But it is the fear of, the security of having that job, and which is not secure at all. I've seen it so many times when people just get made redundant the next day and they're gone. No questions asked.
That's why I'm so passionate about teaching women sales and entrepreneurship and mindset mastery and overcoming fear. And once you know how to sell, Carly, that's freedom. And I'll tell you why. Because you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere in the world. You can get any job. No company exists without sales. And that's the number one thing I help entrepreneurs focus on. Because it makes me so mad. We were talking about this before. It makes me so mad that all these programs out there teaching people how to these fancy websites, but they don't know how to sell. And it's the number one thing entrepreneurs need to focus on, to generate cash flow. There's confidence that comes from that.
Well, exactly. It's like selling high end, isn't it? Once you sell the first one, you're going to go, oh, that was all right. That was relatively easy. I can sell another one. But it's getting past that first sale, isn't it? Once you get past that first sale, then there's nothing stopping you. It's like you said, it gives you belief that you can do it. But unless you, like you said, put action in and a plan in to get that first sale, you're just going to sit there and flounder.
That's right. And most people are just floundering around. They're saying, well, when it feels right, it'll never feel right. You must decide and make it right. That's when it's going to feel right. And it's never convenient to invest in yourself. It's never a right time. It's never a right time until it hurts so bad that it's so uncomfortable at your job or in a certain level of your business that you're willing to do something different. You're willing to take a risk on something new versus continue facing the pain. And that's when women come and see me a lot. So again, I'm going to open that invitation to your viewers. If you would like to take your business to a new level, if you would like to master sales, master your mindset, overcome fear, go to takeyourpowerbacknow.com/10K ready. You can apply for the 10K in 30-day program. You can see all the testimonials on my website. I've been so blessed to work with some of the most phenomenal women, and they're empowerment leaders. They're women who are, some of my clients are, have been divorced. Their husbands leave them with 4 kids and leave them for the secretary at work in another country. Okay, it was one of my other clients. She's like, now I really need to make money. I was like, isn't that interesting? You hired me a couple weeks ago, and now this happens. Like, there's a really support system in all of this. And can you see the higher, order of all things? Like, how amazing. And she's like, moved back to the UK, got a new job, took her kids with her. So I'm so passionate about helping women overcome fear and really own their power, and understand how to use the mind, and also understand sales. It's very important. So I highly encourage anyone listening to this interview, if you do resonate with any of this, come and check out the program. It's a game changer, and I just feel so blessed. Who would have known that God's source spirit sent me out there to sell mops? I used to cry to my sister in hotel rooms. I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm selling mops. She's like, when you're going to be on these stages around the world, telling women your stories and inspiring people.
It is fascinating. It's certainly a slightly different journey you're on now. It's not quite as glamorous selling a mop, is it?
No,
like about face, but it's a good story. It's like you said, maybe you needed that story. It's like you said, everything happens, doesn't it? Because without that story, you wouldn't be where you are today. That's the thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't have mastered, selling from the stage. I work with a lot of speakers. I wouldn't have mastered performing. I'm a performer. I love being on stages. I love speaking. I love telling stories. It's so fun. And, 4 years of practicing that, it was very powerful. Helping, understanding what motivates people to buy. That was a 4-year apprenticeship. And life is always doing that for you. Life is always setting you up for the next step. You just have to decide what story you're telling about it. Are you going to choose a story that supports you, or are you going to look at the fear?
Powerful ending. Well, we're just about to told you we'd get to an hour pretty quick. So I kind of want to ask you, I always ask my speakers, obviously you've got a fantastic lifestyle business. What's one thing that you really love about what you do now? And what's one thing maybe you could see doing something different in the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, one of the things, and I've got 5% on my computer before it craps right out, so I'm going to finish this thought.
Yep.
One of the things that I love doing is actually being, live with women and taking them through transformation. So I did a retreat in Hawaii last year. It was amazing. It's called Take Your Power Back Now, the Ultimate Goddess Getaway in Kauai, Hawaii. It was amazing. We had 7 women, and we went on these amazing hikes and just really a week of self-love. Massages on the beach, yoga every morning, all organic food, magical hikes to these, very epic spiritual places, and different ceremony and ritual, and really just, spending time together. Because I think when women gather, there's magic there, there's power. Women are natural networkers and nurturers, and we're alone. We're alone in our houses, even with our families, we're alone. In the tribal days, women used to take care of each other, take care of each other's kids.
Yeah, so true.
And I think that's missing now. And so I'm running now it's called the Soul Sister Mastermind. So it's a program for women to, get together and just have, like a weekend of fun every month, and, network with each other and learn from each other. So I'm really passionate about that, and I'll be definitely doing much more of that in the coming couple of years.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I can't see any other questions live, so I think we've answered all the questions from that I had before, and obviously what we're going to share today. So thank you so much for your time. Some really inspiring. For me, it's obviously just stretching my mind. Every time I talk to you, I come up with something completely different. Some really powerful stuff there. So hopefully as viewers, you've got some inspiration to kind of, like you said, make that decision. By the sound of it, that is your turning point, is just decide that you're going to create a new story. So that's going to be my motto for the day. Decide to create a new story, get a blank page of a book and start to write your own story in a new one. So thank you so much Vanessa for your time. I know you're really busy and really appreciate the value you've just provided to my audience. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and you can go back and enjoy your sun now.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to connect, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can find me on my website, takeyourpowerbacknow.com. Have a wonderful
Awesome.
day.
And I'll make sure that link to the free book goes below the video as well and gets sent out to all my viewers as well. So make sure they get a copy of that. Thank you so much for that offer. It's awesome. And yes, if you haven't read it, guys, I'm going to go back and reread that other page now. I was like, I haven't gone through that process. Now I'm in my frame of mind where I'm going. So thank you so much, Vanessa. It's awesome. I really appreciate you being here. And thanks, guys. And we'll see you on the next show. Cheers for now. Bye.
Bye.